One of the most difficult things to do when talking about sports is getting people to agree on certain topics, which is normal, given that, as an entertainment product, sports are intended to offer something for all different tastes. Still, that often leads to endless debates on which player's the best, who had a better career, which championship run deserves more credit, and many more. However, while it may look irrelevant when most people argue about these topics, things become different when a former player is the one taking part in these debates. Former stars have the experience that most analysts and commentators lack, which gives them some extra cred when making statements about the game. And while their comments may not have an actual impact in the league, some of them, like Scottie Pippen saying the bubble is not NBA basketball, are worthy of analysis. Welcome to Courtside. Today, we're taking a look at Scottie's thoughts on the bubble and on the ways that basketball in Disney World is different from that of a normal NBA season. Scottie Pippen, perhaps one of the most qualified people to talk about what is and what is not NBA basketball. After all, his illustrious career lasted for 17 seasons, in which he made 16 straight playoff appearances, which, of course, included his legendary championship run with the Chicago Bulls. His legacy as one of the best two-way players and arguably the best complementary star in the league history earned him a spot in the list of 50 greatest players in NBA history, released in 1996 to commemorate the league's 50th anniversary. Since his retirement, he's made recurrent appearances in the media, often giving his opinion on the daily NBA news without being afraid of making controversial statements, something for which he's become known. So, considering that he's previously talked about how he doesn't know the names of half of the current Bulls players or how he doesn't consider the signing of Billy Donovan to help his former team get better, comes as no surprise that he was open about the way he sees the bubble. To be more specific, Scottie said the following: "Well, I'm going to be honest, it's not NBA basketball. It's not the hard grind, it's not the travel, it's not the fans, it's not the distractions. Really, to me, it's pickup basketball. It's going to the gym." He added that, in his opinion, the lack of fans in the stands, noise, and on-court distractions essentially meant players were able to play without pressure. He continued by mentioning that Rajon Rondo was one of the players that have benefited the most from the bubble, saying that the point guard's three-point shooting percentage, it's better than it's ever been, and the fact that players don't have to travel or talk to the media as often has helped them play better. But if we take a better look at what has been going on inside the Orlando campus, it's hard to agree on all levels with the Hall of Famer, and most other personalities in the NBA world seem to disagree with him. For example, a few weeks ago, Kevin Durant said the bubble ring was going to go down as the most respected championship ring in NBA history. Former champion Metta World Peace also took part in the debate by saying the NBA Finals were the toughest finals in the history of any sport. Others, like former champion Kendrick Perkins, took offense on Pippen's comments by saying the Bulls legend was disrespecting not only the players, but also all the people who worked on making the bubble playoffs a reality. Then there are players like LeBron James, who have been inside the Disney World campus for almost 3 months now, and have repeatedly talked about how being inside the bubble has been one of the most difficult challenges in their careers. So it's safe to say that Scottie's opinion is not exactly the most popular in the basketball world, and we'll show you why. Pippen might be right in saying that no distractions are affecting the players' production on the court, and of course, the fact that the bubble has eliminated the need to travel should only benefit the players' bodies, as they can get more rest than what they would get on a normal playoff run. But as we all know by now, many things can affect players off the court. Being isolated inside the bubble and away from family and friends might be the most challenging factor in Orlando. Being forced to remain in the same place, where there aren't too many distractions from what takes place on the court, only makes matters worse for the players. All of that has led to many players dealing with mental health issues during their time inside the bubble, Paul George being the better-known case, given that he decided to talk about it in front of the media. So, in any other circumstances, it might be safe to assume that the removal of travel and distractions should only help the players be better on the court. But when taking into consideration the challenge that the bubble represents for the players, it's hard to say it's been easy for them to perform at the level they've been doing. And even if the bubble helped certain players perform better, it wouldn't take anything away from the game, as all teams faced the same conditions and should have, in theory, received the same benefits. On top of this, using Rondo as an example doesn't seem like a good idea. For a long time, the legend of Playoff Rondo has been known in the NBA world, and even if the point guard doesn't like being called that, well, every time he gets the chance to play in the postseason, he takes his game to a higher level, regardless of whether he's playing inside a bubble or not. But still, even if the better part of his comments are not well received by most people, there's a couple of things that can be taken away from Scottie's thoughts on the bubble. All right, here we go. First, the fact that there weren't fans nor travel involved had an impact on the atmosphere of games, which could at the same time have either benefited or harmed teams during their playoff run. Essentially, the bubble took away home court advantage, meaning that teams wouldn't be able to receive that extra boost from fans cheering or booing during a close game. And that should be one of the main reasons why the road team has won around 50% of the games so far. Therefore, we'll be left wondering whether home court advantage could have made a difference in Game 7 of the Clippers and Nuggets series, or Game 7 of the Raptors and Celtics series, given that in both instances, the visiting team was the one to come out with a win. Then there's also the fact that teams could have played better or worse depending on the building in which they were playing, and that could have made a big difference in the performance of at least two teams. On the one hand, you got the Nuggets. They were able to have a historical playoff run by coming back from 2 3-1 series holes in back-to-back rounds. And while that was an impressive feat, you can't help but wonder if they would have been able to do that in normal conditions, playing 3 or 4 games on an opposing team's arena. And then, the other hand, with the Lakers there, they had a disastrous start to their bubble experience, which led to a poor record in the seeding games, and many doubts regarding whether the team would be able to fulfill their championship expectations. In the end, they were able to return to form and became perhaps the best team in this year's playoffs, but could they have avoided all the early drama and played even better if they were in front of their fans at Staples Center? Maybe, but we'll be left with the doubt until at least next year's playoffs. The other thing we can take away from Pippen's comments is the fact that the basketball that's being played inside the bubble, it's unlike any other thing we've seen. We can't call it pickup basketball or going to the gym, but the bubble playoffs have certainly produced a new brand of NBA basketball. This postseason has forced players and coaches to adapt to a new environment, to a new way of playing the game in which the court's depth can be perceived much easier, where on-court communication isn't a problem, and where even referees can call the game differently. The lack of travel also pushed the league to adopt a new playoff schedule in which teams play games every other night, something that could have countered the benefits of playing all games in a single place. Last but not least, the bubble may have also highlighted the problems that every team was already dealing with during the regular season. The isolation represented an emotional and mental test for everyone inside the campus, and combined with the things that took place outside of it, like protests for social justice, well, it's easy to see that many things could have affected a team's success. In the case of the Clippers, Paul George's play and the way his teammates were feeling about it and about being in the bubble may have harmed their already fragile chemistry, which ultimately led to the disappointing end to their season. In other cases, the bubble represented a test to the players' commitment to winning, which was exemplified in Alex Caruso missing his sister's wedding to remain with the Lakers, Danuel House being kicked out of the campus for violating the rules, or Lou Williams spending some time inside a strip club after leaving the campus for personal reasons. So, the NBA bubble helped bring many things to light that teams can learn about to make improvements going forward. And for those who made it until the end, it served as validation of why they are among the best in the league. And while we're confident neither the league nor the Players Associations wants to go inside another bubble in the future, they may have learned a couple of things about the experience that could help them make the regular season and the playoffs more exciting in the coming years. All in all, 2020 has been one of the most difficult years in recent memory for humanity. And that, of course, meant things weren't going to be easy for the NBA. Still, they managed to put together a quality product that has delivered on all expectations. And while not everyone may feel 100% happy with the way the bubble worked out, the league, players, and everyone involved in making the playoffs a success should be proud of themselves and how the NBA remains a pioneer in delivering a high-quality product, even in the most adverse conditions. But now, let me ask you this. What are your feelings about the bubble as a whole? Do you agree with Scottie and think it shouldn't be considered NBA basketball? Let us know in the comments. We hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you did, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and come back for more NBA content because we are Courtside.